We're going to head over to Joe. He's going to give us an update on our phase 2 rollout in the statewide job fair we're hosting tomorrow. And then we'll get to Phil and share for questions. Joe?
Thanks, Jessica, and good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us this morning or this afternoon. Would just want to give you out some numbers and statistics since the launch of phase 2 over the weekend. As previously stated, we were excited that we were able to launch the program with under our 3-week window and launch that on in the early morning hours of Saturday, the 20th of February. Since we launched phase 2, we've paid out more than $254 million in benefits. Of that $254 million, we paid 135 claimants that either reopened claims or filed new continued assistance federal extension benefit programs. I think as previously reported, we do not know the exact number of claimants for phase 2 for a number of reasons. We don't know who will file new PUA claims. It just depends on their individual situations. If they're employed, if they've moved, or maybe they're no longer needing the assistance. We also know that some of them have returned to work, but also remember that in phase 1, if someone that was eligible for phase 1 because they didn't exhaust their benefits prior to December 26th, they could have become phase 2 in that window if they exhausted those benefits. So again, they would have to reopen their claims under the CAA programs. We do think that 135,000 claimants falls into what we think would be the high number of people getting into the system to look at new PUA claims and then open exhausted claims. Of big note to you all is since we launched MyUI Plus on the 10th of January, we paid out more than $668 million in benefits. And we've, in that $668 million, there have been 248,000 Coloradans who have received a payment. So we do think the system is working as designed. I think we are identifying issues with payment delays as we roll this out. I want to caution you, we did get this rolled out phase 2 expeditiously under our window of 3 weeks. In that, our vendor would have loved to test the program for many more weeks to make sure that we didn't have any errors in that. But over the weekend, we know there are some claimants that are having issues. Bill will talk a little bit more into detail. But I mentioned last week, there are 12 different paths an individual that could have been receiving unemployment before the pandemic to get to where we are today. And so we need to make sure, and we're required through the federal government to make sure that those eligibility requirements are exhaustive and that people are moving along and eligible for the programs that are appropriate with these extensions. Moving on to, I want to talk about what we're offering in partnership with our Colorado Workforce Centers and our local workforce development boards throughout Colorado. We will have a statewide virtual hiring event tomorrow, February 24th. It's from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. To let you know, we have over 150,000 jobs that will be listed in that virtual hiring event. And we have probably 1,200 people that are pre-registered for the event. Would love to get the word out so that we could look at those 248,000 people that are unemployment insurance and give them an opportunity or a window in to see what's available throughout Colorado as far as opportunities for them to return to work. So would really like your partnership to get the word out that that virtual hiring event is for people on unemployment insurance, as well as other people in Colorado who may be looking for re-entering the workforce. We have employers from Amazon, Centura Health, and Natural Grocers, to name a few that are on there. We know that in Colorado, we have a critical need in computer and mathematical occupations or jobs, also management jobs. There are over 10,000 jobs listed on our job boards. In sales, about 10,000 jobs, and food preparation and service related jobs, just under 3,000 are there. I want to mention with the job fair tomorrow for our veterans that are looking for work, there is an hour that is exclusively for veterans. That's from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And then the job fair is open to the public after 10 a.m. So with that, I also want to announce that coming later this week, we are going to launch an online dashboard for our unemployment insurance customers. And it's will be on the coloradoui.gov homepage. The dashboard will be updated daily with data points that include the number of claimants paid, the amount of benefits being paid out, the call center workloads and attention to that, and how people can resolve their issues using coloradoui.gov, and also looking at Some of the issues that we're working on, knowing that there may be payment delays or integrity hold issues with ID.me. So the dashboard will be a way to communicate that we're aware of maybe issues, if you will, while we're flying and building the plane at the same time, rolling out these extensions. But we will hope it'll be helpful to people trying to get answers to the questions of why perhaps their benefits may be stalled and what they can do to remedy that situation. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Phil, and then we'll open it up for questions. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, all, and thank you for joining us today. As noted, we rolled out phase 2 over the weekend. As anticipated, some individuals have had some difficulty. We've been working with our vendor tirelessly since Saturday to ensure that we're addressing issues as they crop up with individuals trying to receive payments. So there were some issues presenting themselves upon deployment, and some of these fixes for these problems have already been put in place. As an example, Saturday morning, we noticed that around 9,000 pandemic unemployment assistance claimants were not receiving the extension. However, working with our vendor, we were able to put a fix in place by Saturday night to take care of those individuals. We have some other issues that we'll be resolving in the coming days. One fix went in last night, and there are 2 more scheduled for tonight. The cumulative number of claimants that are impacted or who cannot currently receive benefits until those fixes go into place is 13,000 individuals. And some of these issues involve missing payments for the week of December 27th. That fix is supposed to go into place this week. We have issues set with out-of-date state IDs. That fix will be in place this week. Available pandemic emergency unemployment compensation payments are being denied on some claims. There will be a fix in place this week for that. We also have some ineligible standard unemployment insurance claims still showing as the claim available to individuals, so they are not able to reopen their PEUC claim or PUA claim at this point in time. And that is a fix that has been deployed, but it may take up to 2 days for the claim to fully process and readjust for individuals to be on their appropriate claim. Also, another ongoing problem that we know is causing some angst among the claimant community are that forgiven overpayments that we previously had written off in the pandemic unemployment assistance program. Those have been reappearing periodically for individuals. So they will see the balance on their homepage screen. But if the overpayment was forgiven last year, pops up again, our system will correct itself. It's in an overnight batch process that's ongoing. It may happen more than once until a permanent fix is in place. Right now, this is a temporary solution to fix that. But if it was previously forgiven, those claimants don't need to worry. It will be written off again, and it will go away once we can clean those up. A couple of other notes for each of you is you may hear from some other individuals who now have holds on their claim. We've discussed these integrity holds in the past. With the increase in claims, of course, there's been a corresponding increase in the number of integrity holds on claims. However, we've initiated and sent an additional 22,800 referrals to ID.me to assist those individuals in being able to clear those integrity holds. Other notes for you just quickly is call center data, and specifically related to our third-party vendor conversion. That call center answered 8,530 calls since phase 2 go live. They were open over the weekend for us. The average wait time over the weekend was just over 50 minutes. Yesterday was our busiest day, and that call center averaged 1.5 hours for the wait time. We have heard that there were people who perhaps couldn't get through at times on that call center, perhaps receiving a busy signal. There were approximately 256,000 calls going into that call center. However, that was by 19,000 specific individuals. So some of that would be individuals calling multiple times or who had either been on, didn't want to hold long enough, got off, tried to call in again. So it's possible part of those 19,000 making multiple calls are preventing other people from being able to get in and make those telephone calls. For individuals, however, who experience problems with dropped calls when they are on with conversion, we do have a form on our website now where we would ask them to complete that, provide some basic information so we can try to track down those difficulties at this point in time. With that, I'll hand it back to Jessica for now.
You're muted.
All right, let's open it up for questions. Anyone? Bueller? Our chat box is quiet today. Here we go. Tamara, unless someone's account is on hold for an integrity hold, do you have any insight into who might not be able to reopen their claim by now? Phil, do you want to take that one?
So again, some of these would be some of the issues that we discussed or that I discussed a little earlier here. There are some claims that for some reason are not showing the appropriate claim at this point in time to reopen. Those require those fixes. We've been continuing to work that list as we go along. Other than that, if an individual has zero balance on a claim and they've run through all their money, obviously, Tamara, they wouldn't be able to reopen the claim. But for the most part, most individuals should be able to reopen a claim. We do know that there are other claims where they're not able to open them right now because they're logging in and they're being told that the claim is locked. At this point in time, those individuals also would be getting information so that they can go the way of ID Me to try to verify their identity in order to unlock those claims and allow them to reopen them. Liz, I think I can take yours too. You just talked with a viewer who applied for 8 weeks of back pay, but only received 3 weeks. Any reason why? We have had various claims where for some of those prior weeks, if they had a zero balance on the claim, it has not initially paid out, even though we have put the new benefits on. This is again, another one of those issues that we are working to resolve and hope to have a resolution in place this week to pay those individuals. Blair, I'll answer that one too. When I say this week for most of those fixes, are you meaning by Friday? Most of the fixes are hoping to go in place by February 25th. And Marshall, that's an interesting question. Of the 135,000 that have been paid since Saturday, do we know how many of the remaining universe of 289,000 total are waiting or no longer eligible? That's always a tricky figure, Marshall, when we give you those numbers. We know that there were 289,000 individuals who would potentially qualify to reopen the PUA claim based on either having exhausted all benefits. The other group initially were individuals who had a remaining balance. So remember, even those individuals that had a remaining balance, not everybody that we anticipated came into the system. Cannot always speak to why that might occur. Some of those individuals may be fully employed at this point in time, Marshall. Some of them may have other reasons why they haven't filed at this point. There would be some, perhaps, as we discussed earlier, calling in or logging into the system and noting the locked unemployment claim. So it's a culmination of various different factors. No single factor there.
Phil, can I just add that that universe did include folks who potentially still had a valid claim and at some point were nearing exhaustion. So it was a much larger universe than simply those who are awaiting phase 2, most certainly.
Yeah, and Gabrielle, I'll see if I can handle this one too. You've been getting calls from viewers saying CDLE received their call and the ticket has been created to call them back. So this generally means they've contacted Conversion Call Center. And it's been weeks and they have not received any callbacks or answers. Remember, at this point in time, we are still working to increase the number of staff that are within our own CDLE call center to provide those callbacks. Gabrielle, we also understand that that's not a good answer, that people are waiting weeks or they're being told 21 days to get the ticket filled. I wouldn't want to be waiting that long. I'm sure you don't want to be waiting that long. And I can guarantee a claimant doesn't want to wait that long to get in. So we are continuing to work to adjust our call center internally to hire additional staff and to create that as a little more of a hybrid system. There are certain calls that the Conversion Call Center simply does not have the capability to address and handle that our own internal staff would have far more knowledge and be able to handle. And so we're looking at how can we better spread those calls so those type of calls come into our own call center where we're better able to handle them. Again, it will be a continuing work in progress, Gabrielle, so it won't be perfect from the get-go, but we will continue to look to keep adjusting that to better meet our customer needs. Jose asking, have a Spanish interview today. Does the ID.me have instructions in Spanish, or the claimant will need somebody who speaks and reads English to complete that process? I wish I could answer that question for you right away, Jose. That one I don't know off the top of my head. Maybe someone else, maybe Daniel or Jessica or Cher has an answer to that one.
We'll follow up offline, Jose.
Yep. Tamara, if someone's claim is locked, do they need to call in, or is there an alternative to resolving the unknown issue? Yeah, they would go online and fill out that fraud form, the same form we've had people fill out for integrity issues, in order to be able to be sent that link for ID.me. Blair, I wish I had an answer from DC. So do we have any update from DC on the latest on potential dates